13 incredible fruits that could help dissolve blood clots naturally and just might save your life. Every year, millions of people, especially older adults, suffer strokes or heart attacks without warning. And the hidden cause? Often, it's a tiny clot silently forming inside their blood vessels, a clot they never even knew existed. Here's the eye-opening truth. Some of the most powerful ways to protect your heart, brain, and circulation may already be in your fruit bowl, not in a pill bottle. Red apple, yes. Everyday fruits, not miracle supplements or extreme diets, contain natural compounds that gently support blood flow, reduce clot risks, and keep your arteries more flexible and clear with every bite. Light bulb, and the best part? They're delicious. They're safe. And they come with zero side effects. In this video, you'll discover 13 expert-selected fruits that research now supports for their heart-friendly effects, especially for those over 60. These aren't exotic or hard to find. In fact, some might already be in your fridge. Grapes, some of them you've likely enjoyed for years. Others, you've probably overlooked. But fruit number 7, it may be the most powerful natural heart protector you've never heard about. Red heart, and this isn't just about you. It's about your loved ones too, your spouse, your parents, your closest friends. Because clots don't wait, and they don't always give warning signs. Backhand index pointing, right? So if you care about staying healthy or helping someone else stay well, go ahead and tap the like button and subscribe to Senior Health Tips. It's free, and it helps us keep bringing you life-changing content every single week. Wrap gift, and make sure to watch until the middle of the video. We'll share a simple fruit combination that most people never think of, but it could multiply the benefits even more. What if one of these fruits could do more for your arteries than months of medication? And what if the best heart protection was already on your plate, hiding in plain sight? Let's find out. Here are 13 simple, powerful fruits that could change the way you think about heart health. And the first one? You've probably already had it for breakfast. 1. Citrus fruits, your body's natural rinse. Citrus fruits, like oranges, lemons, limes, and grapefruits, are more than just a splash of flavor on your plate. They're like nature's gentle scrubbers for your blood vessels. Rich in vitamin C and bioflavonoids, citrus fruits work like a team. Vitamin C reduces oxidative stress and inflammation inside your arteries, while bioflavonoids make your vessels more elastic. Kind of like stretching a rubber band without it snapping. This elasticity helps prevent tiny cracks and stiffness in your arteries, which over time can become the breeding ground for clots. Citrus fruits also support healthy capillary function, the tiniest blood vessels in your body, keeping fluid and nutrients moving freely instead of getting stuck and creating pressure or swelling, especially in the legs. What many people don't realize is that these fruits help your liver process fats and balance blood viscosity, which simply means how thick or thin your blood is. For older adults, this is crucial. Ever feel sluggish in the morning? A glass of warm water with lemon might do more than wake you up. It kickstarts circulation, helps your liver flush toxins, and gives your cardiovascular system a gentle nudge, all before breakfast. White heavy checkmark, why it matters. Strengthens blood vessels, reduces inflammation, and supports smoother circulation at the capillary level. Light bulb tip. Drink warm lemon water first thing in the morning. It supports your liver and keeps your blood flowing smoothly. Pushpin coming next. A deep red fruit known for centuries to cleanse arteries and boost your body's natural ability to relax blood vessels. 2. Pomegranate, the inner artery cleaner. Think of pomegranate as a microscopic sponge, soaking up inflammation and scrubbing your arteries from the inside. It's not just juice. It's a vascular elixir packed with antioxidants and healing compounds. One of its standout powers is its ability to boost nitric oxide, a molecule your body makes to relax and widen blood vessels. This simple act, relaxing a vessel, reduces pressure, lowers clot risk, and improves oxygen delivery. Pomegranate also protects your arteries from the oxidation of LDL cholesterol, the process that turns normal cholesterol into sticky plaque. And its polyphenol reduce platelet clumping, which keeps your blood flowing like a clean stream instead of turning into sludge. Some studies even show that drinking pomegranate juice daily can reduce arterial plaque thickness in a matter of months. Imagine a fruit that quietly helps unclog your vessels without you even noticing. Want to take it further? Add a dash of black pepper when drinking pomegranate juice. It may sound odd, but black pepper contains a compound that helps your body absorb more of the fruit's antioxidants faster. White heavy check mark why it matters. Increases nitric oxide, reduces LDL oxidation, and helps thin blood by preventing clots from sticking. Lightbulb tip. Combine with a pinch of black pepper to boost absorption of polyphenol. Pushpin coming next. A sunny, tropical fruit whose golden flesh hides a powerful blood-thinning secret. Mango 3. Mango, not just sweet, but strategic. Most people think of mango as a summer treat. But for your heart and circulation, it's more than sweet, it's smart. Mango contains mangiferin, a powerful antioxidant that calms inflammation and inhibits thromboxane, a substance that signals platelets to clump and vessels to tighten, both big players in clot formation. By reducing thromboxane, mango keeps your blood more relaxed and free-flowing. It also contains soluble fiber, which helps regulate cholesterol, particularly LDL, and manage blood sugar levels. Why does that matter? Because high blood sugar makes platelets stickier, raising clot risk silently. And here's a trick older adults can appreciate. Mango contains vitamin A and C, which together strengthen arterial walls and may even support vision, a double bonus. Want a healing snack that tastes like dessert? Blend mango with a sprinkle of cinnamon and a dash of almond milk. It helps balance blood sugar, improves circulation, and supports calm, clot-free flow. White heavy check mark why it matters. Inhibits platelet clumping, lowers bad cholesterol, and keeps blood vessels relaxed and resilient. Lightbulb tip. Make a smoothie with mango, cinnamon, and almond milk for a delicious circulatory boost. Pushpin coming next. A fuzzy green fruit with enzymes so powerful, it may help dissolve clot-forming proteins naturally. 4. Kiwi, the clot dissolver in disguise. Don't let its size fool you. Kiwi is a tiny fruit with a powerful internal toolbox. One of its secret weapons is actinidin, a natural enzyme that helps break down fibrin, the protein that acts like glue in blood clots. That's not all. Kiwi is rich in potassium and vitamin C, both essential for maintaining healthy blood pressure and calming inflammation. In fact, some studies show that eating just 2 kiwis a day can significantly reduce platelet aggregation, meaning your blood is less likely to stick together and form clots. But kiwi doesn't just prevent clots, it improves your endothelial function, or how well your blood vessels expand and contract. That's like oiling the hinges of a door that's starting to squeak with age. And here's a bonus. Kiwi also helps reduce triglycerides, the fats that can make blood thicker and more prone to clotting. All that in a fruit that fits in your palm. Want to get the most out of kiwi? Eat it on an empty stomach. Actinidin works best in a slightly acidic environment, and that's when your digestive system is most ready to absorb. White heavy check mark why it matters. Dissolves fibrin, reduces platelet clumping, and keeps vessels flexible. Lightbulb tip. Eat on an empty stomach to activate clot-busting enzymes and support digestion. Pushpin coming next. A fruit that cleans house quietly while you're asleep. 5. Papaya, the nighttime artery sweeper. Papaya may taste gentle and soothing, but it's a hard worker when it comes to your heart. It contains papain, an enzyme that breaks down proteins like fibrin, the key material clots are made from. This makes papaya a sweeper fruit, gently helping your body clear out buildup in the bloodstream while you rest. And thanks to its beta-carotene and vitamin C, it reduces inflammation in vessel walls and protects them from wear and tear. Here's what most people miss. Good digestion is deeply tied to good circulation. When your gut is inflamed or sluggish, your entire system becomes more prone to inflammation, which is the starting point for many clots. Want to upgrade your bedtime routine? Try combining papaya with a slice of fresh ginger. Ginger contains gingerol, a natural blood thinner that complements papaya's sweeping action. White heavy checkmark why it matters. Papain breaks down clot proteins. Antioxidants reduce inflammation and support healthy vessel walls. Light bulb tip. Blend papaya with fresh ginger in the evening for overnight artery support. Pushpin coming next. A fruit that hydrates and thins your blood at the same time, perfect for hot days and tired hearts. 6. Watermelon, the hydration hero for your heart. Watermelon isn't just refreshing, it's a circulatory superstar, especially for older adults. With over 90% water content, it helps keep your blood from becoming too thick or sluggish, which is a quiet but serious risk as we age. But the real power lies in citrulline, an amino acid that your body converts into nitric oxide, a natural compound that relaxes blood vessels and lowers blood pressure. This helps reduce the risk of clots forming in narrow or stiffened arteries. Watermelon also contains lycopene, a potent antioxidant that protects blood vessels from oxidative stress, a silent driver of clot formation and arterial plaque buildup. And don't forget the white rind. It holds even more citrulline than the red flesh, making it perfect for smoothies. Tip for seniors in hot weather. A bowl of chilled watermelon not only cools the body, but keeps blood flowing smoothly, just like natural liquid circulation. White heavy checkmark why it matters. Hydrates the body, relaxes blood vessels, and reduces clot-triggering inflammation. Light bulb tip. Blend in the white rind for extra nitric oxide boost and smoother circulation. Pushpin coming next. A tiny blue fruit often called nature's aspirin, and it's stronger than it looks. 7. Blueberries. Tiny, but mighty blood defenders. Blueberries may be small, but don't let their size fool you. They're packed with anthocyanins, the deep blue pigments that act like armor for your blood vessels. These compounds reduce inflammation, protect the inner lining of arteries, and most importantly, prevent clots from forming by calming down platelet activity. Some researchers even call them nature's aspirin, because they gently prevent platelets from sticking together without the risks of blood-thinning medication. Blueberries also help maintain the flexibility of your arteries, support healthy blood pressure, and protect your vessels from oxidative damage, all vital as we age. And here's a lesser-known bonus. They activate proteins called sirtuins, which help repair aging blood vessel walls. That's like having a built-in maintenance team working for your circulation. Want to boost their effect? Pair a handful of blueberries with a few walnuts or almonds. The healthy fats help your body absorb the antioxidants better, giving you a stronger anti-clot benefit. Speech balloon, by the way. If you've made it this far and you're enjoying these tips, why not hit the like button or subscribe to Senior Health Tips? It's a small action, but it helps us keep bringing you big impact health advice every single week. White heavy checkmark why it matters. Prevents platelet clumping, protects blood vessels, supports healthy pressure and aging arteries. Light bulb tip. Pair with walnuts or almonds for better absorption and longer lasting protection. Pushpin coming next. A fruit once sacred in ancient times, now proven to guard your heart in modern life. 8. Grapes. The ancient healer with modern power. Grapes, especially the red and dark purple varieties, have long been a symbol of vitality. But behind their sweet taste lies a powerful ally for your heart and circulation. Their strength comes from a compound called resveratrol, found mostly in the skin of grapes. This antioxidant helps prevent platelets from clumping, reduces inflammation, and supports flexibility in blood vessels, all of which lower your risk for dangerous clots. Resveratrol also relaxes the smooth muscles and artery walls, gently lowering blood pressure and improving blood flow. It's like giving your arteries room to breathe. And here's what most people miss. Almost 80% of the resveratrol is in the grape skin. That means if you're only drinking grape juice or eating seedless grapes with thin skins, you might be missing the full benefit. Want a heart-smart snack? Freeze whole grapes, skin and all. They become bite-sized, cold treats that feel like candy, but heal like medicine. Better yet, pair grapes with a piece of dark chocolate. The flavonoids in both foods work together to enhance circulation and reduce clot risks, all while satisfying a sweet craving. White heavy checkmark why it matters. Rich in resveratrol to prevent clots, relax arteries, and protect blood vessels from age-related damage. Light bulb tip: eat grapes whole, including the skin, and pair with dark chocolate for a double antioxidant boost. Pushpin coming next. The fruit once feared for being too fatty, now celebrated as a heart-healthy miracle. 9. Avocado, the fat that heals. For decades, avocados were misunderstood, cast aside for their fat content. But now, science has confirmed what ancient cultures knew. Not all fats are the enemy. Avocados are packed with monounsaturated fats, the kind that help reduce LDL, bad cholesterol, and raise HDL, good cholesterol. This creates a smoother, less sticky environment inside your arteries, making clot formation far less likely. They're also rich in vitamin K, which plays a key role in regulating clotting. It doesn't thin your blood, but ensures that clotting happens only when it should, striking the delicate balance between too much and too little. Avocados are also loaded with folate, magnesium, and potassium, which reduce inflammation, stabilize blood pressure, and help vessels stay relaxed and flexible. Here's a secret: the dark green layer closest to the peel contains the highest concentration of antioxidants. So don't scrape it off, scoop it up. White heavy checkmark: why it matters. Balances cholesterol, supports proper clotting, and strengthens arterial flexibility. Light bulb tip: always scrape and use the green flesh closest to the peel. It's nutrient-dense and heart-healing. Pushpin coming next. A burst of berry-colored protection that wraps around your arteries like armor. 10. Berries, the rainbow armor for your arteries. Strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. They're not just beautiful, they're vascular protectors in disguise. Their rich colors come from anthocyanins and polyphenol, which fight oxidative stress, calm inflammation, and prevent platelets from sticking. These compounds strengthen the endothelium, the delicate lining inside your blood vessels. A healthy endothelium keeps blood flowing smoothly and signals vessels to expand or contract as needed. Berries also help regulate cholesterol by lowering LDL and supporting HDL, reducing the risk of plaque buildup that leads to clots. And they're naturally low in sugar, which means they don't spike your blood sugar or increase clot risk. What's more, their fiber content supports gut health, which is now known to be deeply connected to cardiovascular wellness. Want to amplify their power? Soak berries in green tea for 5 to 10 minutes. The tea's catechins combine with berry antioxidants to create a potent combo for circulation and vessel repair. White heavy checkmark: why it matters. Reduces platelet stickiness, supports cholesterol balance, and heals blood vessel lining. Light bulb tip: soak in green tea before eating to boost heart benefits naturally. Pushpin coming next. A bright yellow fruit sitting on your kitchen counter that may be silently protecting your pressure. 11. Bananas, nature's blood pressure balancer. Bananas are a senior-friendly superfruit hiding in plain sight. They're rich in potassium, which helps your body flush out excess sodium, a major contributor to high blood pressure and vessel strain. As you age, your blood vessels tend to stiffen. Potassium in bananas acts like a relaxant, keeping artery walls soft and responsive, reducing the risk of cracks and pressure buildups where clots love to form. Bananas also contain vitamin B6, which helps lower homocysteine, an amino acid linked to artery damage and increased clotting risk. And here's something most people don't realize. Even the banana peel contains compounds like serotonin and tryptophan, natural relaxants that also support vascular tone. Feeling adventurous? Add a small sliver of well-washed banana peel to a smoothie. It's gentle on digestion and surprisingly nutritious. White heavy checkmark: why it matters. Regulates pressure, softens vessels, and reduces clot-triggering compounds. Light bulb tip: try adding a tiny strip of banana peel to smoothies. It's calming and vessel-friendly. Pushpin coming next. A tropical fruit whose enzymes actively clean your bloodstream, and it tastes like vacation. 12. Pineapple, the enzyme warrior for your circulation. This tropical favorite doesn't just bring sweetness to your plate, it brings action. Pineapple contains bromelain, a powerful natural enzyme that breaks down fibrin, the protein that binds clots together. Think of bromelain like a quiet janitor, scrubbing and loosening little blockages before they turn serious. It also reduces inflammatory markers in the blood, helping prevent the environment that favors clot formation. And that's not all. Pineapple is high in vitamin C and manganese, both of which support collagen formation in vessel walls, keeping them strong, elastic, and less prone to micro tears. Want to boost bromelain absorption? Pair pineapple with turmeric and a pinch of black pepper. It enhances anti-inflammatory effects and circulatory support. White heavy checkmark why it matters. Bromelain dissolves fibrin, calms inflammation, and strengthens vessel walls. Light bulb tip. Blend pineapple with turmeric and black pepper for a powerful anti-clot tonic. Pushpin coming next. The final fruit, humble, yellow, and quietly heroic for heart health. 13. Lemon, the ancient cleanser for modern hearts. Lemon may be one of the simplest fruits in your kitchen, but it hides powerful properties that cleanse, balance, and protect. It's loaded with vitamin C and bioflavonoids, which support collagen repair in blood vessels, protect against oxidative damage, and reduce inflammation, a major driver of clots. Lemon also helps alkalize the body, balancing pH and reducing systemic stress that contributes to clot-friendly environments. And the citric acid it contains gently breaks down calcium deposits that can harden arteries over time. One of the best ways to harness its power is to drink warm lemon water first thing in the morning. It wakes up your liver, supports hydration, and gives your blood a gentle rinse. Add a slice of fresh ginger, and you've got a heart health elixir that's simple, cheap, and deeply effective. White heavy checkmark why it matters. Cleanses arteries, strengthens blood vessels, and supports pH balance for optimal flow. Light bulb tip. Drink warm lemon ginger water on an empty stomach daily for gentle detox and heart support. Pushpin, you've made it through all 13. Now let's wrap up with your easy action plan. Final takeaways. Your daily defense against blood clots. If you've made it this far, it means you care deeply about your health, and possibly the health of someone you love. So here's what you can take with you. White heavy checkmark blood clots don't appear out of nowhere. They build up slowly, quietly, over time. But that also means you have time to stop them. Every bite you take can move you closer to protection or risk. White heavy checkmark the 13 fruits we explored today are more than just snacks. They are natural tools, safe, delicious, and backed by science, that support blood fluidity, vessel flexibility, and long-term heart health. White heavy checkmark you don't need a complete dietary overhaul to start seeing benefits. Just adding 2 to 3 of these fruits daily can start shifting your body toward a better state, reducing inflammation, improving circulation, and helping your body naturally prevent the conditions that lead to clots. White heavy checkmark hydration, movement, and stress reduction are also key partners in this journey. Your blood loves motion and clean fuel. So take a walk, drink some water, and nourish yourself with foods that love you back. Red Heart, remember, prevention isn't just smart, it's life-saving. Loudspeaker, if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel, Senior Health Tips. Your support helps us create more valuable content to help you and our entire senior community live longer, stronger, and better. Stay well, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.